Hello, I am Tracy Adkins. I'm the founder of Jivana and Jivana's in-house Ayurveda practitioner. I wanted to take a moment to properly introduce myself, as you'll be seeing a lot of me. I'll be talking to you all about all things Ayurveda, from understanding the core principles of the science to guided meditations and even some cooking and recipe building in the kitchen. My professional background is actually as a registered nurse. I started when I was fresh out of college as a registered nurse. I worked in cardiology for about 5 years, and then I started working in women's health. I obtained my master's degree and worked as a nurse practitioner beginning in 2000. I really did find my niche when I started working with women. Not that I don't like working with all types of people, I really do. But when I began working with women, I really knew that I had kind of found my place. My first job was working actually in an underserved area in a urban community. And mostly my clientele were adolescents and very young women. So I had just come out of my master's degree, and I was quite young myself, like 25, 26. So a lot of my patients were actually my own age. What really struck me at that age was the major discrepancy between me at that age and them at the same age as me, in terms of the resources that we had, and the access to education and health care and any amenities. And so that was really pivotal to me and poignant. So moving on then in my life, that was very impactful. But then I went on to get married and had my own family. I had 5 daughters of my own, which I think is the most unrandom act the universe could provide, since I was in the field of women's health. I think that was just kind of the universe saying, this is what you get when you start to study women's health, is that you get all these women to take care of in your lifetime. But I'm very grateful to have that. I took some time off from my career to raise my family, but the other thing that's been very important to me in my life has been health and wellness. So I've always kind of been into nutrition and fitness. So in my younger years, when I was in high school, I was always in sports, and when I got into college, I took up running, and so that was big for me. And then when I was, after my 4th child, I had a few fractures. So as much as I loved running started to not love my body back. So I had to give up running, and so that was fine. I turned in running and got into yoga instead. So that was good. That was a good thing for me. And when I took up yoga, as much as I loved the physical practice of yoga, because it can be as an intense or as relaxed as you want it to be. But I started to wonder to myself, like, why is yoga so powerful? Because, everybody gets, when they run, they get this runner's high, and everybody knows about that. But I wondered to myself, what is so powerful about yoga? What is it about yoga? So I started to dive into the philosophy of yoga. And in doing so, I got into the teacher training of yoga, not so much that I had this big drive to be a yoga teacher, but more that I wanted to understand the philosophy more. And in studying the philosophy of yoga, I started to get into Ayurveda. Ayurveda is actually the sister science to yoga. And Ayurveda studies the human body, whereas yoga studies the mind. So I started to kind of integrate both yoga and Ayurveda and study them both. One of my very good friends came over for dinner one day. We were having a backyard barbecue, and so we have the usual spread of goodies, and she came with this, herbal tea, and I was like, what are you drinking? What's that? And she said she had just finished this Ayurvedic consultation with this person, and she's kind of telling me all about this, and I had never heard of it. And she said, well, I have my dosha, and I have to drink this, and it's room temperature. And she was talking about all this stuff, and I'd never heard of it, and so of course I wanted to jump on board with this. And so I signed up and got a consultation myself, and this person's name was Patricia Wickman, and I signed up. I had my own consultation and was immediately intrigued by this whole science of Ayurveda, not knowing that a few years down the road, Patricia would start her own school of Ayurveda, and I would be in her first class. And so that was my journey into Ayurveda. And I have thousands of hours of training in each of those combined. So to become an Ayurvedic practitioner, you need, I believe it is 1,500 or 2,000 hours of training. And because I was Patricia's in her first training, we had way more than that, because she went above and beyond the call of duty with her first class. And after we graduated from her program, I went on and studied with Amruta Tail, which is a doctor from India, and did a deeper dive into several other subspecialties of Ayurveda, and like gynecology, psychology, dietetics, and got several hundred more hours in the study of Ayurveda. So I have upwards of 4,000 hours, I believe, in Ayurveda training. So Ayurveda has just become a very integral part of my life, and the reason is because prior to understanding Ayurveda, I was kind of one of those people that thought if a little is good, then a lot is better. So if somebody says, well, you know, you should run 2 miles, it's really good for you, then I thought, well, if 2 miles is good, then 3 must be better. But once you understand Ayurveda, you understand that for some people that might be okay, but for other people it's not okay. So Ayurveda really teaches you the concept of balance. And only then did I understand that a lot for me is not necessarily better. And so when I started to appreciate that about myself, then I started to actually feel a lot more rested, a lot more nourished, and even calmer. I wasn't like on this hamster wheel of trying to do everything and feel like I was being the best I could be. I always previously had felt like, well, if I do more, I'll feel better. If I do a little bit more, I'll feel better. But then I backed off of that philosophy and realized, I think if I do less, I'll feel better. Understanding those philosophies is what actually got me on a better path to feeling more well-rounded and more balanced. So that is how Ayurveda really helped me. And once I understood that, I incorporated that into my family life and started kind of cooking that way for my family and introducing that to my husband and even my daughters. And my daughters, who aren't all that old, started to understand their own doshas as well. And so it's kind of been fun for us to do that. When it came to starting Jivana as a company, which I never actually intended or thought I would do, the way that started was I was in Ayurveda school with Patricia, and my youngest daughter developed a skin condition, and I just thought, you know, I know how to treat this as a nurse practitioner. I could do this, like, no problem. We could just go to the pharmacy and get some, you know, medical cream, and no problem, this would be over. But I knew that, like, this is coming from inside her body. Let's treat this holistically. Let's get to the root of this. So what we did was we found the reason that was, you know, we found the culprit of her issue, and it was dietary. She was sensitive to dairy and gluten. So we eliminated those things from her diet. But it didn't solve the problem completely. She still had some residue on her skin. So I really wanted to take this natural approach and develop something for her skin that would alleviate what was left over topically. It actually worked. And so with some herbal combinations and some blends of oils and butters, and to this day the same product works for her. And she always says, where's the Wonder Balm? Where's the Wonder Balm? I have some, my skin is flaring up, I need my Wonder Balm. So it still works, and that's how Jivana started. And I didn't intend for it to be a company, but here it is. And as it progressed, though, as the company built up and took off, I remembered working at that clinic, and I remembered all the people who didn't have access to healthcare, and I thought, if we're building a lifestyle company, we need to have access for everybody. I wanted to create a space where anyone can come and learn and see ways that they can incorporate Ayurveda into their own lives and have a small and consistent daily practice. I'm glad that I can reach a community in more ways than just skincare. So although skincare was the foundation of Jivana, and I'm very proud of our brand, we are so much more than that. So no matter where you are in your Ayurvedic journey, please join our Jivana community. And if you haven't done so yet, please fill out our brand new Jivana dosha quiz. It's state-of-the-art, actually, and it will give you a very comprehensive answer to your dosha questionnaire. It will tell you your Prakruti, which is the state of your constitution and how you were born and how you are today, and then how to bring balance to your life. Sign up for our newsletter so you can get updates on how to bring balance to your life. It will give you recipes and things about exercise, yoga, meditation, all our upcoming promotions. We'll have new yoga teachers coming onto the scene, all kinds of things. So don't miss out on that either. If you want more information on one-to-one consultations with me personally, please fill out that as well, and we'll get information back to you on that too. So thank you so much for listening. We're so excited to have you here and part of us. Namaste.